Some of the tweets are honestly like, ah! If you're so rich, why on earth do you need to use ice cubes in your pool? I have a heater chiller in my new home. Drama. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica and I created Dolled Up by Jay. So guys, me and my rosé today are going to be discussing The Real Housewives of Dubai, episode 5 and 6. I am so sorry, first of all, that I have been offline for the past 11 days or so. I just really wanted to enjoy my birthday and be in the moment, have a few hangover days, and just get off social media for a while. So I'm back, fabulous, better than ever, and me and my rosé are going to be talking about these episodes. Welcome to the channel series. If you have missed the previous videos, they will all be linked down below for you so you can catch up on all of the Dubai tea. For background, if you are new here, I am a Dubai resident. I've been living in Dubai for a year and a half now, and I have all the inside information about some of the filming locations, some of the Dubai details the show discusses, and also I just like a little Housewives drama. So if you're here for it, grab a drink. There's not going to be any short form content today because I have missed you guys. I hope you've missed me as well. And let's discuss all the drama. While I was waiting for my camera to charge, I already had a glass. So it's gonna be an unhinged video today. So let's go over some of the main points, starting with episode 5 and then 6. And then we're also gonna get into some of the crazy tweets that have been going on because I'm not a big Twitter person until it comes to Housewives. Housewives Twitter, honestly, needs its own TV show. It's just like, it is the Hunger Games out there. Oh my goodness. Woo! So episode 5 opens with Caroline Brooks meeting Phaedra at the Versace Hotel, and I guess she is another housewife from another city. I'm not familiar with her, but I actually really enjoyed her on this episode. I thought she was a lot of fun and she brought a lot of spice. I would love to see her on Dubai. Also love the cats at lunch. Oh my gosh, the cats were so cute. Dubai does have a lot of stray cats. You're not technically supposed to feed them. It's not legal, but I see people doing it. It's honestly, they're so cute, but the thing is, if you say hi to them, they think you're gonna feed them, so they start coming up to you. And I've literally had kittens chasing me because I've been like, oh hi baby, and then they chase you because they want food. And I've tried to give cats water, which like I don't know if that's illegal or not, and they don't drink it. So I'm like, okay, I tried to help you. So the cats are really cute. That's another thing about Dubai. There are stray cats, but I will say they are in much better shape than I've seen in places like the Caribbean or Mexico. I don't know what it is, but the stray cats here seem to be like very clean. So it's like very cute to see. I just feel bad for them. Okay, now we see Lesa go home and she's having dinner with her husband. They still have the goat and they're talking about how they are going to probably give the goat back. So it's kind of cute. They have adopted the goat as like a family pet. You know, they do have a spacious enough looking yard, I suppose, so that's fine. But the main comment that everyone was going crazy about was Lisa's husband saying, you know, why would you worry about a 50-year-old influencer? First of all, Caroline Stanbury is 46, you know what I mean? And it's like when I was 25, if someone called me 30, I'd be like, hey, let me have my last years. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be called a 50-year-old if I'm not a 50-year-old. I wouldn't want to be called a 30-year-old if I'm not. So I thought that was like a bit rude of him, you know, especially for a man to talk about a woman's age negatively. I really didn't appreciate that. I didn't like that aspect. I thought it was a bit funny, but also very rude and childish. I know he's supporting his wife, but I just don't think he should have spoken about her age personally. I also thought it was interesting when she's talking to her husband, she's like, I think, or it was in one of the confessionals around the time she was with her husband, Lesa, is she was saying, you know, shouting and swearing is illegal in Dubai and these women shouldn't be acting this way. But it's like, I'm sorry, how many times have you guys been beeped out on the show because you have been cussing very loudly as well, like the first dinner, you know? I'm just like, this is crazy. So I'm like, you're kind of one to talk, to say like, this is illegal, you shouldn't do it. And then like, they're all in arguments getting crazy, you know? So I thought that was like a little bit hypocritical, although I can't personally remember if Lisa's been one of the ones swearing. I just know it's like all a blur. Then Caroline Stanbury invites Chanel Ayan over for dinner and they're trying to kind of build this relationship, this friendship. You know, Sergio and her get along really well, so Caroline wants to kind of try and build this relationship as well. And I thought it was nice they invited her over. I thought it was a good step and I could actually see them being friends. Who knows what will happen later on Twitter. I don't see anything negative between the two of them happening currently, so let's see. A big thing that a lot of people were talking about was Caroline said in this scene that she went to boarding school for a number of years, I think since she was was 8 until she was 16. So it really like hardened her, and she really didn't like the experience because she's basically away from her family all the time, you know. And later she says in I think episode 6 that she doesn't really see her mom much. She sees her maybe once or twice a year, and they talk like a couple times a year, but it's never about anything emotional. You know, it seems to be quite surface level, and their relationship seems very just like proper. So I mean, it might have hardened her for sure, and it might explain kind of how she is today, and how, you know, maybe Sergio, people perceive him as being so extra, but really he's just very loving and warm and caring. She probably gravitated towards him because he is so warm and so caring, and she doesn't have a figure like that in her life aside from her children, right? I find opposites attract. So in the case of Sergio and Caroline, that could be why they attract, right? I didn't touch on this in any of the previous episodes, I totally forgot, but the whole baby thing with Caroline and Sergio, he seems to really be pushing for a baby. He really wants a baby. He is 27 years old and she's 46. So, I mean, they have a significant age gap, right? And so obviously she has 2 children who are in their teenage years now, and she's personally said herself in the show she's not really looking to have a baby, and he keeps pushing for it. But they just got married, and obviously they probably wouldn't have agreed to get married unless she agreed to maybe have a child or consider it in the future. Otherwise it'd be a total waste of time. You know, he's 27, this is his first wife, and he wants to make a go at this, right? But she did make a comment saying, you know, I've already raised my own children. If he wants a baby, I'll give it to him, but he needs to find a nanny, and he's dealing with the child, which I thought was like that's a quite cold statement to make, you know what I mean? But I feel like, I don't know her, but I feel like, you know, if you did have a child and it's your own, yes, nanny help seems to be the norm with all of these women. They all have their staff, and, you know, we'll really get into this later, but that seems to be the norm. And I think that maybe if she did have her own, she would really love it and embrace it, and wouldn't want to just, you know, never see it and let the nanny do everything. But I really don't know. But I thought that was like a bit of a cold statement. What did you guys think of that? Next, in episode 5 is Sarah and Nina. They go to the Sarah's family gathering. So in Arabic culture, they meet every Friday. I think that's really, really nice. We don't really have anything like that in Canadian culture. Aside for like in Christianity, they do like Sunday dinners and all of that, and Sunday is the day of rest. I mean, I'm not a very religious person, but we definitely did a lot of Sunday dinners like with my family, and that was really, really nice. So I really enjoyed that part of the show where the family was all coming together and just kind of catching up. And it was also nice to see Sarah, you know, with no makeup, but I still think she's beautiful with no makeup. And it was nice to see her kind of like at ease and just not really caring. And then Nina like really dressed up, but obviously she's meeting Sarah's family, so she's gonna like put in the effort to look really nice, right? And I thought Sarah's relationship with her dad was really cute, and they're very close, and he just seems like a really nice man. I think it was interesting in the show how Sarah was saying, yeah, we have 2 kitchens, but the kitchen inside it is not used, and we use the outside kitchen for the cooking because of the spices and everything. This is something that's totally foreign to me since coming here. It's really interesting. Like, I didn't realize other cultures had separate kitchens or even did their cooking outside because of the smell and the aroma from different spices and things that they're cooking. So, you know, in North America, the kitchen is such a focal point of the home. It's interesting because the building I'm in now, they're actually building another one in the next few years, and there is an option for people to choose if you want to have the kitchen in the living area, like a focal point, as mine is now, or you can have a separate kitchen in the back so it's away from everything. And the building owner told me this is for more like Arabic style cooking. Arabic clients will tend to put their kitchen back, whereas European and North American clients will tend to have their kitchen more of a focal point. So really interesting with that, really interesting. I really didn't know that until this year. I'm learning, guys. Okay, and then the episode finishes off with Ski Dubai. You guys saw the ski drama. Basically, Caroline Stanbury shows up with Sergio. Phaedra's there as well. They all wear the rental suits, but Caroline comes in her own ski suit, and she's like, why would I wear a rental garment if I own my own? I totally get it. She was being like a little bit abrasive at the time. She was just like, no, I'm not doing that. No, no, no. Like, she definitely could be a bit warmer, but you also have to respect that she kind of stands her ground. You know what I mean? I know me, I would be like, no, like I have my own. No, it's nothing personal. Like, you know, Canadians, we just always sugarcoat and apologize for things. I've been working on this for years, just trying to strip that away. But but yeah, that was an interesting scene, you know. And then she's kind of saying, I've skied Courchevel and the Swiss Alps and all of these fabulous places my whole life. Why would I go on a half a kilometer ski run? Totally. I mean, I've thought about going to Ski Dubai, but I looked it up, and it's a 32-second ski down the hill. Let's get to episode 6. So then we'll get into the tweets, okay? There's some good ones. So we had raffles for Caroline Stanbury. I think she said she's a raffles ambassador, so I'm guessing that she gets this whole thing probably comped and, you know, as part of like paid advertisement and all of this. And Raffles is really beautiful. I recently did my photo shoot there in my last Dubai vlog. So if you want to see some footage of around the property from my experience, then definitely check that vlog out. It's in my latest uploads. And that was really nice to see, although they did have a discussion at the end of episode 5 actually about the seating, because Sergio really wanted Caroline to be with his family. He really wanted Caroline to sit with the family, and she said, no, I have friends coming from LA that I haven't seen in ages and I want to sit with them. We're gonna have so much time for the wedding, and this is about the wedding engagement dinner or something. And he was saying that's so selfish, and Nina was kind of jumping in saying, no, you should sit with the family, you should sit with the family, this is a traditional thing. And Caroline was like, well, I didn't want to get married. And it was this whole like bombshell. Like she's like, I didn't want to get married. So it's interesting because maybe he pushed the wedding. So interesting. But I mean, they seem to be like relatively happy. And then after the girls go to Address Skyview where Nina lives, and they had a high tea, I believe it was episode 6. They meet there by the pool downstairs. It was Lesa and Nina and Caroline Stanbury. I can't remember who else. I'm sorry. Maybe Chanel Ayan. Also, Chanel Ayan's outfits in the last 2 episodes have been iconic. Like the feathered getup she is wearing and how she's walking, you know, around Dubai Mall. She takes off her shoes. I honestly don't think that's allowed. I think for the show, they filmed that quick little scene and then she put her shoes back on. But she honestly dresses amazing. Like, I don't know where she gets her clothes, but her clothes are amazing. Like, I have to give her props because she's always looking absolutely stunning, and she's just very like free-spirited, and she just is who she is, and I really appreciate that. I'm starting to really like her. I think after episode 1 I was a bit like, she's trying too hard, and then you kind of get to learn more about her and see her vulnerable side, and she's becoming one of my favorite characters. She's definitely a favorite character on Twitter as well. People are loving her. They're loving her. And yeah, the rest of the episode was a bit quiet. They did a Global Citizen Forum with Sarah Al-Madani. She invited Ayan, and they went to a place called Ras Al Khaimah. It's about 60 kilometers from here. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive, and it's a really interesting place. I really want to go there. They did theirs, I believe, at the Waldorf Astoria, I believe, is where they were. I noticed on one of the robes, I think, that's the hotel they were in. They also have, I think it's either a Ritz-Carlton or a Four Seasons. It's really cool. They do these like tented villas with infinity pools overlooking the desert, and it's all private and you can't see the neighbors. And then they have like the wildlife and the camels and the gazelles, they go in front of your villa, you know, because you're just in the middle of the desert. Really incredible. And then it was cool to see my hairstylist again, Maggie. She was doing Sarah's hair, and she was like really in it a lot more than episode 1. So that was cool. So I'm happy for her. You know, she's like a Housewives hairstylist. That's pretty cool. She's in Canada for the next several months with her family. So I won't be seeing her for a long time, I don't think. So I might have to find somebody else to do this situation. But anyways, the biggest part of the show was the dinner with Caroline Brooks, and she invited Sarah Al-Madani, and she invited 2 of her best guy friends that were in town visiting, and it got very heated. I was really shocked with, you know, what happened, because basically Sarah was saying, you know, your son's going to bed, the nanny's tucking him in, you should be closer with him. She got really defensive, and then her friend was also chiming in saying, you know, at least Sarah's here. Sarah's the voice of reason. Wine break. Caroline was talking about sending her son to boarding school, and Sarah was saying, I know people who've done boarding school and put their kids in boarding school, and it's really like negative for them, so I really don't think that's the right thing. And then Caroline got really defensive and was saying like, don't teach me how to raise my children, you're in my house. I totally get that though. I mean, if you are having guests in your home and they're like criticizing you and telling you how to parent as well, like that's really not good. The thing is like if you invite a camera crew into your home, and you know everyone's going to discuss this on Twitter after, obviously what you say is going to be held against you. It's just the way of the Housewives world, you know what I mean? So without further ado, guys, let's get into some of these tweets. Some of the tweets are honestly like, I'm going to start with the dinner tweets, and then we're going to go back to some of the tweets that came about about Lesa, between Caroline and Sergio and Lesa, because it was on fire on Twitter. Like, they were so crazy, I had to screenshot them. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first, let's start with the light one. Most people do not wear elbow-length studded gloves when furniture shopping, and that's why Chanel Ayan is better than most people. Icon. I loved her furniture shopping outfit with Caroline Brooks, by the way. Love it. Okay, so what happened on Twitter? So someone said, I'm on Sarah's side. The reaction from Brooks was wildly unnecessary and problematic. I would never let a stranger talk to me that way, much less a lifelong friend. Sarah was spinning facts, and the camera footage and mics aren't lying about how you act towards your kid. Yeah, so basically what happened is, I'll read another one of the tweets here just so you guys get an idea. I think someone else summed it up pretty well. So they said, Caroline Brooks asked Adam if he wanted her to cut up some chicken for him and then asked Sarah to do it. Sarah is Caroline's like live-in housekeeper. Then she tells Adam to go to bed but asks Sarah to tuck him in. Now it makes sense why she's sending him to boarding school. She sucks. I thought that was so crazy too. She's like, oh, Adam, would you like me to cut up your chicken? And she's like, we don't eat with our fingers at this house. Like, I want you to have good manners. But then Sarah Al-Madani was kind of saying, oh, he can learn that later. Just let him learn it later. I think raising your kids with good manners, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's the difference between people who let their kids run around in restaurants screaming and throwing the food all over the ground than kids that sit there and are quiet or have a book or colors or whatever and they don't wreak havoc and they know not to throw their food everywhere. So I think in that sense, Caroline Brooks isn't doing anything wrong raising her son. But I did think it was funny how she's like, oh, do you want mom to cut up the chicken for you? And then she gets the housekeeper to do it. It's like... And then she's like, Sarah, send Adam to bed. And people online really are not having the way she treats Sarah. Like, they're really, really not having it. Someone commented though saying, this is why people shouldn't stan people until 5 episodes in, because she basically like ruined it for herself. So another person said, Brooks, it's giving absolutely unhinged, especially the way she talks to her best friend. Red flag times 100. Dead ass wrong. Oh my God, we need the wine for this. And then, yeah, people were saying a lot, like, she's really rude to her live-in. She really doesn't treat her well. She's not polite to her. She doesn't say please and thank you. And there's like thousands of likes on these tweets. I think that if someone is working for you, no matter how much money you have, you should not treat them like crap. Like, not that she necessarily treats her like crap, but I just think saying, can you bring me this? I need this. Can you do this? Say please. Like, anyone ever cleaning my house, I'm like, thank you so much. And I'll be like, can you please not forget to do this? But thank you so much. Don't just say, please do this, make sure this is done. And I get the vibe Brooks is very like, do this. And people on Twitter were saying like her obsession with boarding school is a very like new money thing. And, you know, she's screaming at the table how this house she built all for herself and whatever. But I was kind of like, what does that have to do with raising your son? You know, like, she's getting defensive at this point, I think. And then someone else said, you know, I'm torn on this one. She's not that close of a friend, Sarah Al-Madani. Judging someone else's parenting would bring out the mama bear in anyone. She may have crossed the line. Yeah, 100%. She could have crossed the line, Sarah Al-Madani, by commenting on Brooks's parenting, right? Anyways, last week, Caroline Stanbury was on fire. Honestly, if you don't have Twitter, you can view it with your internet browser. You don't need the app. Just look at like Real Housewives of Dubai hashtag, and the tweets are so funny. So Caroline Stanbury was literally on a roll last week. She tweeted like 12 times, I swear to God, in an hour. Fired up. And she said, has anyone noticed that no one has seen the interiors of anyone's homes? This is a Housewives show. Let's see, please. Which is so true. Like, her house has been in Harper's Bazaar interiors. And, you know, we know that Nina lives in address Skyview with her family and her kids. And we know Caroline Brooks, we saw her house in the last episode. We really haven't seen the inside of Chanel Ayan's house at all. We've only seen her really getting ready in, like, I think a few hotel rooms. And also Sarah Al-Madani, we've seen a little bit of her house. We've seen Lesa's house from the outside, not so much the inside that I can recall. But it is really interesting because in Beverly Hills, you know, we see the massive houses and the mansions and the massive estates and the grounds and all of this. And so some people are saying that some of the housewives really aren't like as wealthy as they portray themselves because they aren't showing their houses. Because in Housewives, it's all about the houses. You know what I mean? Aside from like the clothes and the jewelry. So really interesting. I'd like to get your guys' take on that. I'm interested because, you know, Nina's house in the Skyview, for example, we went and viewed the residences in the Skyview, and they obviously have, you know, penthouses and things like this, but we went and viewed 2, 3, and 4 bedroom residential properties in the address Skyview where Nina lives, just to see, you know, what they're like before coming here. And the apartments themselves, I can tell you, this is just my experience. They were very sterile. They were very like beige, and there'd be a central living area and small kitchen, and then the bedrooms were just like down a hall, and it'd be like room, bathroom. And the more bedrooms you have, it would just be a longer hallway basically. The terraces were all basically the same size. They span the whole living area and bedroom area. So if you have a few more bedrooms, you know, you just have an extra door going out there. So that might be part of it. I don't know, you know, she might live in a penthouse. She might live in a very large property in there, but we did view like what they had to offer at the time. They might have a 5-6 bedroom, I don't know. They might have a 2-floor, I have no idea. I just find that the homes so far though, aside from Caroline, I'm really kind of just like, you know, so Caroline Stanbury's onto something. Like, why aren't they showing their houses? Is it because they're not that great, you know? And then this is when it got really crazy, you guys. So I mentioned in the previous video, episode 4, about Sarah, just have a drink when you forget their names. I mentioned in my last video about Lesa. God, maybe wine was a bad idea. I mentioned in my last video about Lesa with Mina Rowe, and she was saying we did 8 figures last year and we're doing great and blah, blah, blah. And then what happened on Twitter, Caroline Stanbury said, when my company was doing 8 figures, we had over 60 employees, factory distribution, and investors, not just me and one assistant. I also know the guy who started it with them very well, with like a emoji. Do you like that? And then Caroline said, and then Lesa said, at me next time, girl, my company has made its first $1 million, not dirhams, in 2016. Okay. We ship from a warehouse. We have over 25 staff directly employed by Mina Rowe. Okay. No one started this company with us and we don't have any partners, built from the ground up on our own. Yes, but she also did say her husband was financing the company. So technically he's the partner, you know what I mean? But she is saying we built this company, so her and her husband. So, okay, fine. But then Sergio, oh my God, and Caroline Stanbury retweeted this. This was actually like kind of mean in my opinion. And I don't think it was even a good example. He said, I am looking for some maternity clothes. Oh, I know the biggest in the world. Started by Mina Rowe. And again, they got called in a lie. Actually, our friend funded your 8-figure business, not even ranked, LOL. And then he shows a screenshot of searching for maternity brands, and it has all these different things, but ASOS is one of them. I think they do maternity. Old Navy, Pink Blush, Boohoo. I don't think this was the best example, Sergio. I think you could have like done better, but he was just kind of showing what comes up on maternity clothes Google, and her business wasn't even ranked, but those tweets really didn't get that many likes. And this is all over calling her 50-year-old influencer by Lesa's husband. If he hadn't said any of that, I don't think they would have gone into this. And Sergio said, everyone is focusing on why my wife is a 46 influencer living her best life while no one is asking questions about the rich #1 financier in the UAE. Good luck, mate. Get jealousy from a man to someone else's wife is very cheap. Oh my goodness. I was kind of like, yeah, that is an interesting comment, you know? And I think that's a big claim to say he's the #1 financier in the UAE. Who knows? Who knows, right? Who knows? But they got into this whole catty thing. And then also, Caroline Stanbury went and said, if you're so rich, why on earth do you need to use ice cubes in your pool? I have a heater chiller in my new home. Again, this is what I said in episode 1, you guys. It's all coming full circle now. I'm not the only one. 100%. I mean, most pools in the summer will pump in cold water, so they're still enjoyable because the ocean here actually heats up to like a hot tub. Like you go in the ocean because you want to cool off and it's like warm and you're like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting and now I'm hot again. Pools will pump in cold water, and when it's a little chillier, they'll pump in warmer water. And exactly, like, why did she need to rent ice if she could have just put cold water in her pool? I think they were maybe doing it as a Housewives flex, unless the pool just like doesn't regulate the temperature because her house is a bit older, you know, is what Caroline was saying. The drama. And then Stanbury also said, nice until I'm not. Hashtag RHO Dubai. And then someone said, I'm not here for your amusement, you're here for mine. She said that in Ladies of London, iconic. What I did find was interesting though, after episode 6, I think this was July 17th, people were really coming for Caroline Brooks on Twitter because of the boarding school thing and then the way she was talking to Sarah. I didn't find her to be too rude. I just found, you know, the lack of please and thank you. And then again, saying, do you want mommy to cut the chicken? And then, Sarah, can you, like, okay. She comes out with this tweet and now she's posting about charity and helping people. I think she's trying to redeem herself, right? She said, tipping well is so important. You never know what struggles people go through. I had such a heartwarming conversation with my Uber Eats driver. We don't even have Uber Eats in Dubai. Maybe she's traveling. We don't have Uber Eats here. Wow, I gave him a few $100s because he was truly inspiring. Working 3 jobs just to provide for his kids. Be kind. I mean, yeah, that's really nice of her. For sure, I always tip the drivers too, always. But then someone said, I wonder if he is self-promoting it on Twitter too. And then someone else said, we don't advertise tip amounts in polite society. I mean, yeah, 100%. I think she was totally trying to cover for all the bad, you know, negativity she was getting online, trying to, you know, show herself in a different light on her charitable side. But it was lost because, again, it's a common thing. You shouldn't talk about how much money you donate to charity. You shouldn't even really talk about it. You should just do it. And tipping, like, oh my God, I left such a big tip. You shouldn't talk about it. But it's hard because if people are always attacking you online on social media, I mean, what are you really gonna do, right? At the end of the day, like, even sometimes like I'll get the odd mean comment and I'll be like, oh, I want to like defend myself, or what should I do? Should I address it? Should I not? Should I be sarcastic? Whatever. And it's hard, and they're getting it like tenfold, 100-fold compared to me. You know what I mean? I'm a small channel online, growing. But yeah, I think that's it for today's video, you guys. By the time you see it, the new Housewives of Dubai episode will be about to air. So we'll have to all watch it together. And I'll try and get the next video up way sooner so we can discuss all of the happenings, because I think the show is getting much better now. And I think that the first few episodes, I was like, this is literally a snooze. I'm bored. This is literally such a flop. This show is just the worst. And I think that it's only going to keep getting better. And I'm glad I stayed with it. And I'm glad Chanel Ayan is just dressing the most, because I think she's fabulous. And I think, you know, we're seeing more of Caroline Stanbury in the last few episodes. And she's showing more about herself. She's not as boring as people were saying. I think now people are kind of seeing a different side to Caroline Brooks. We're seeing the hardworking side with the spa and all of that, and she's providing for her family. And now we're seeing this other side where she's like screaming at her best friend as well at the dinner table, which was like very uncomfortable to watch. And personally, like, I would never be friends with someone that would scream at me like that, even if it was in their own home. I think Sarah is really fun to watch. I like her whole, you know, entrepreneurial sense and her rebellious spirit. And I like Lesa with her Mina Rowe and her business and all of that. I think her husband is definitely, you know, he's a cheeky one, and the comments, they're gonna cause a few more feuds. I'm really curious to see, you know, will there be a sit down with Lesa and Lisa's husband and Stanbury and Sergio? I would like love to see what happens after the influencer comment. Let's pray. Did I miss anyone, guys? Oh, and Nina. I'm finding Nina is, she's just not really doing it for me. I think she's kind of a background character. You know what I mean? I think she's a background character. I don't think she's creating too much drama since like French Fry Gate. And I think she is just kind of maybe a voice of reason. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are enjoying this channel series. Again, if you do enjoy all this content, definitely subscribe for more. I do fashion content and some beauty content as well. So definitely subscribe for more of that. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I love you, and we'll see you next time. Okay guys, bye.